cruise sponsored by the Florida Everglades hockey team. My name is Rebecca. I'll be your captain this afternoon. Couple of quick things as we are backing up here. First of all, if we can please just keep our arms, hands, elbows, our primates, or do anything to try and get their attention. Thank you. So we are backing up onto Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is a man-made lake. It was dug about 70 years ago, back when the zoo was still only a botanical garden. The zoo was a botanical garden first. It was founded in 1919 by Dr. Henry Nerling. It was in 1969 that it became a zoo, and it has been a zoo and botanical garden ever since then. We still have many of our historic trees and plants which you can see around the park during your visit today. This Lake Victoria is named after the largest lake in Africa. It is also filled with brackish water. That is a mixture of saltwater and fresh water, which attracts a lot of local wildlife, so you could see fish out here. You might also see turtles, birds, snakes, but there are no alligators in Lake Victoria. All the alligators in the zoo can be seen in Alligator Bay. You'll also see as we are going around today, we don't have any bars or fences on these islands. That's because all of our primates were born in zoos. So they were either born here, or they were born at a different zoo, then they moved here. None of our primates were taken from the wild, so they do view the water as a natural barrier. So our first islands will be these ones coming up on our left. We're looking for a pair of Siamang gibbons. These are lesser apes native to Southeast Asia. Now with the cold and the rain, these guys have kind of been hanging out inside their shelters here. So it makes it a little hard to see them just because it is kind of dark in there. But if you look very carefully inside this shelter here on our left, you can see them kind of sticking their faces out. So again, here on our left, these are our Siamang gibbons. These are lesser apes native to Southeast Asia. This is an arboreal species, meaning in the wild, they could spend basically their whole lives up in the treetops. Now here at the zoo, these guys don't really have to worry about things like predators, so it's not uncommon to see them hanging out on the ground here on their island. When I say these gibbons are lesser apes, that's just how apes are classified. So your great apes will be a lot bigger than these guys. They'll be your gorillas, orangutans, bonobos, and chimpanzees. And then your lesser apes are all 18 species of gibbon. The Siamang gibbon is the largest species of gibbon. They can weigh up to 35 pounds. They're also the second loudest primate in the world after the howler monkey. If you were here this morning, you might have heard them making their call. When they make that call, they'll climb up into the trees. Now I know it's a little hard to see on them right now, but they have a flap of skin under their chin, which is called a gular sac. So they'll fill that up with air like a balloon, and that allows them to make a loud territorial call, which can be heard about 2 miles away. On top of that being a territorial call, our gibbons are a bonded pair, so when they make their call together, this helps strengthen the emotional bond that they have. Now, if these guys happen to make their way out later, you can see these islands while walking along the Bay Trail. So if you head to the right from the boat dock, that'll take you past both the islands here on our left, and eventually up to the tan buildings ahead of us. The one closest to us will be the Lakeside Cafe. Across from that are our closest restrooms, and then across from that is our giraffe exhibit. Giraffe feeding is open today, but it does close at 3. So you might head over that way next if that's something you were planning on doing today. So we're going to go ahead and move along to some monkeys here. So gibbons are apes, these next guys are monkeys. The main difference between apes and monkeys is whether or not they have a tail. Monkeys have tails, apes do not. So over here on our right, we will have 3 black and white colobus monkeys. These are old world monkeys, which can be found in Central Africa. So you've got 2 sitting on these structures on the ground here, and then 1 up in the tree towards the front of the boat. So again, these are black and white colobus monkeys. They get their name from a Greek word, which kind of roughly means mutilated or docked. That's D-O-C-K-E-D. They have this name because they have a reduced thumb. Now these guys do get around just fine with their reduced thumbs. They do spend basically their whole lives up in the trees, kind of like our gibbons do. But these guys are super athletic, so they're really great at just kind of running and jumping through the trees. And they've been seen using tree branches kind of like trampolines to kind of launch themselves up in the air. And then this long mantle of hair that they have kind of around their back is sort of theorized to act like a parachute when they're doing that. Now when these monkeys are born, they are born all white. As they get older, they'll get more of the black hair you can see on all three of these guys here. This species is doing pretty well in its native range. It is a species of least concern. This could be because they have a two-chambered stomach. When they eat, their food goes into a first chamber of their stomach. It gets broken down a bit. Then it goes into a second chamber where it gets broken down further. This means they can eat a wider variety of food items, including foods that might be toxic to other animals that live in the same space as they do. Sometimes when there is not much food around, this can help them with competition. Now food-wise here at the zoo, we have a commissary team which will prepare our diet for all of our animals every day. Our primates usually get a lot of different fruits and vegetables, as well as what is called browse, which are branches trimmed from trees we know they can eat. They're also provided with fresh water out here on their islands every day. Again, these colobus monkeys are old world monkeys. When something is old world, that means it's found in the eastern hemisphere. Up next, we'll be visiting some new world monkeys. New world means they are found in the western hemisphere. So this next island on our right is going to be home to 3 black-handed spider monkeys. These guys can be found in Central and South America. Alright, looks like they're walking along here. Probably coming this way. Now these spider monkeys, they're very social. There's one in the tree here in the middle of the island actually. They live in groups called troops in the wild. So typically where one of them goes, the others are not going to be too far away. So we're probably going to see all 3 of them passing by here. Here comes the 3rd one. So one trait that's pretty common to these new world monkeys that you're not going to see on any of our old world monkeys is a prehensile tail. Meaning these guys can basically use their tail like a 5th limb. So you might see that in action here. They can use it to help them kind of climb through trees. They're also able to use it to pick up and carry things like food. And it's actually strong enough to support their entire body weight. So they can grab onto a tree branch with it and kind of suspend themselves below that. Then have their hands free to grab things underneath them. Now in the wild, these spider monkeys play a very important role as seed dispersal agents. So while they travel through their ecosystem, they'll eat a lot of different fruits, you know, greens, things with seeds in them, and those seeds will kind of just pass through their systems, then drop back to the rainforest floor in little packages of monkey fertilizer. After some time, those seeds will grow back up into new plants and trees and spaces that the spider monkeys have been through. So just by going out and being spider monkeys out where they live, they do play that vital role in their ecosystem. Now these guys are on the move again. They're probably coming up to the point of the island here. Here we are. This one's kind of moved up to the roof here. And we do get a second pass on this island, so depending on where they decide to move to, we got one in the palm tree here. We'll probably get another good look at these guys when we swing through here again. So now we've seen some apes, we've seen some monkeys. We're also going to visit our lemurs today. Lemurs are not apes. They are also not monkeys, even though they have tails. They fall into another group called prosimians, pro meaning before, and simians meaning apes and monkeys. So they are related. They are just related a little more distantly. This is largely because they are only found on the island of Madagascar, which is off the east coast of Africa. So both islands here are home to some lemurs. The island on the left is home to 3 red-ruffed lemurs, so you can see kind of up in the trees here. The island on our right is home to 2 ring-tailed lemurs and 2 red-collared brown lemurs. So you can actually see the ring-tailed lemurs. They're kind of sitting behind the tree here on our right. And the red-collared brown lemurs, we've got one sitting in the doorway of their shelter here. Now something you're going to see on all of our lemurs here is this long pointed nose. Lemurs have what is called a rhinarium, which is just a wet nose like what a dog has, which gives these guys a great sense of smell. So a lot of lemurs will actually use scent to communicate with each other. Ringtail lemurs will even go so far as to use that to find a mate. So if 2 boys are interested in the same girl, they will take their tails. They will rub them all over scent glands that they have on their chests and wrists. Then they'll square up and they're going to flick their tails at each other. After a while, one of those boys will give in. Then the winner of that stink fight will go and he'll present his tail to the female lemur. If she likes how he stinks, then they'll have a date. Now that decision is ultimately up to the female lemur because most lemur species, including ring-tailed lemurs, live in matriarchal groups, meaning the girls are in charge of these groups they live in. Now this wet nose also makes our red ruff lemurs over here on our left really great pollinators. These guys will actually drink nectar from flowers by going up to these flowers and sticking their noses in them. And when they do that, the pollen from those flowers will stick to their nose. So as they are going around and drinking that nectar from all those flowers, they're helping to spread pollen throughout their ecosystem, just like bees and butterflies would do here. Something else you'll see on our lemurs that you won't see on our other primates is what is called a tooth comb. On their bottom jaw, these guys have a set of teeth which are a little bit longer than the others, and they've got some spacing between them. And kind of like the name says, they'll use that as a comb when they groom their fur. So here's a bit of a better look at these red ruff lemurs here. You'll see these guys are kind of on the larger side for your lemur species. They can also be a little noisy at times. These guys make a sort of a barking, growling type call, which can be heard a half a mile away. So they're not going to be quite as loud as our gibbons, but still pretty noisy when they do make that call. Like that. Now these boys over here were actually born here at Naples Zoo as part of what is called the Species Survival Plan. The way that works is there is somebody who will keep track of all of these lemurs in AZA accredited zoos, and they'll play matchmaker and try to decide which ones would be good couples based on the factors that they're looking at. So these lemurs' parents were matched up and they moved in here together, and these boys were born here on May 5th, 2019. Which is super exciting because the red ruff lemur is a critically endangered species in the wild. So really great to have these boys here to help people be able to learn more about them. Now not only do we participate in the Species Survival Plan, but the Naples Zoo has actually been helping lemurs in Madagascar for over 20 years. And we serve as the international headquarters for the Madagascar Fauna and Flora Group. A portion of our proceeds goes to helping support not just this group, but also over 25 conservation initiatives here locally and all around the world. So by joining us here today, you're helping to show your support for these groups, and we do want to thank you all for your contribution. Now, as we come up this way, we're going to be passing by those spider monkeys again. It looks like some of them are up in the big tree in the middle of the island there. Are going to have here on our left. So this last island is home to 2 different primates. We'll have both a monkey and an ape out here. Now the monkey, you can see him, or you might have just seen him sitting on the platform there. He just climbed down from it. He probably looks pretty familiar though. He is another black-handed spider monkey. Now normally in the wild, these guys might live into their early to mid-20s. The spider monkey that lives on this island celebrated his 50th birthday last August. So he's basically twice as old as they would expect to live in the wild. So there he is. He's kind of swinging on that fire hose there. He might be coming up to this point. He likes to hang out at the base of this tree where that little break in the mangroves is. Well, there we go. He's climbing up the tree there towards the front of the boat. So that's our spider monkey right there. Now he does not live here alone. He kind of lives here in retirement with our buff-cheeked gibbon who is on top of their house. Now buff-cheeked gibbons are found in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. He's a lot like our first 2 gibbons in that he's also going to spend a lot of his time up in the trees. The reason gibbons are well suited for this arboreal lifestyle is because they have a ball and socket joint, not just in their shoulders, but they also have one in their wrist. This makes them great at what is called brachiation, where they can swing through the trees using only their arms. Now, if we had a female gibbon here on this island, she would not look like him at all. She would actually be all blonde. When these gibbons are born, they are born blonde. As they get older, the boys and girls turn black. Once they reach maturity, the girls will turn blonde again, but the boys keep their black coats, just like our guy right here. Now, if you wanted to get some more of this island, you can see this one from Lookout Point. That is the shoreline up ahead of us with the 3 benches. It is next to our zebra exhibit, which is across from the lion exhibit. So that's all over to the left of the boat dock if you haven't seen them yet. It is 2:36. At 3:30, there is going to be a meet the keeper with one of our ambassador animals, which is going to be near the front of the zoo. So when you first came in, you should have passed a sort of a cutout of a tiger. That's kind of where that's going to be. Now, as we're coming up to the dock, I just want to remind everyone to make sure you have your arms, hands, elbows, everything inside the boat for safekeeping. And everyone, please remain seated until we are fully docked. There will be a bump when we come into contact with the dock, so once again, everyone, please remain seated. Alright, give us just a moment to tie the boat off, and please make sure you have all of your belongings. And I'd like to thank you all so much for joining us out here today. Please watch your step and enjoy the rest of your day here at the zoo.